So good morning, everyone. Everyone really loved the wind spinner, which is not my idea. I've just seen them online and I thought, well, I'm pretty sure I could make this. So I thought that I would show you guys exactly what I did to modify it so that it spins a little bit better. So in a few minutes, we're gonna actually bend this wind spinner, but I wanna show you first what I did. So after cutting it, I went ahead and I used a 10 millimeter jump ring to attach the centerpiece to the wind spinner because it's kind of hard to do that after you've bent the wind spinner. So we're going to be working with this piece, but first I just want to show you the difference between what I originally got as a file. And so the original file basically had me cut out each of the little gaps here. So you'll see where it's in black, that's the actual gap that would be cut. But the problem with that is structurally, it would make the wind spinner less structurally sound, but also it didn't spin as well. So I modified it and I did this instead. So you can see I'm just cutting a line versus cutting a gap. Okay, so line and gap. And what we want is a line. The second piece is how we actually bend it. So what I've done is I've added a line to show you where you would set this flat on a table. So if you had a table edge, you would set this on the edge and hold it like that. Now, when you do that, you'll probably want to wear some gloves, heat gloves, and you'll want to use a heat gun, and any heat gun will do. You're gonna use a medium setting on your heat gun and a little bit higher fan speed than medium, but not too much. And you don't wanna get too close, but we'll go over that in a second. So again, this is the line that I cut. And when you do that, you see that you end up with a line. It's kind of hard to tell, but there's a line there, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna heat it so that we can bend it. And it only takes a couple minutes. And so I'm gonna show you how to do that. So let's move these pieces out of the way. And like I said, we're gonna put the piece on the side of the table along that line. So you'll notice here's the holes, right? And the line is just to the left of that. And the reason for that is so that when you heat it, you'll be able to move all of these at one time. So I'll explain that further as we get to the point of heating it. And I would just sort of move this piece off to the side and then set this over onto the edge like that. You probably don't want to have anything underneath of it that's going to melt, so forgive my messy table, but you want to go ahead and do that. And you'll notice that I'm turning up my heat a little bit and my speed a little bit. And then all we're going to do is sort of run this over that one center area where the lines almost meet. And we're gonna do it all the way down. And we're just gonna do it for a couple minutes. And again, this gets really hot, okay? But once you do this, it'll be so easy, it almost does it itself. And there's not as much danger of breaking the piece once it's done. Now, the other thing that you wanna do is you wanna make sure that the glossy side of your pattern ply is facing upwards. You don't want it to be facing wrong side up, or you're going to ruin the pattern ply side. I would also suggest using frog juice on the back side of it to protect the pattern ply print, simply because it's going to be outside. So you can see just slightly that this is starting to bend a little bit on its own. So we're going to keep going just a little bit more. And you can kind of tell just by pushing it if it's ready, but it's not quite ready yet. Not quite, a little bit more. But again, you want to run the heat gun over where the lines meet so that you're heating up both sides of the acrylic at the same time. And you want to make sure you wear gloves, like I said, because it does get pretty hot. And then when you go to touch it, so you'll see they're getting a little bit more pliable as we go. And you can see it sort of starting to fall on its own a little bit there. And once you've done that, go ahead and turn your heat gun off. Right. And now what you can do is you'll move this out of the way and you'll notice it sort of bends on its own. It's really hot. You're going to need to be a little bit coordinated here as you start to fold these, because you'll see. And then just sort of hold them and try to space them as best as you can apart. And you don't want to go too far out. You don't want to open this too far. And you're going to let it sort of cool off for a couple seconds. You'll see what I've done here, right? And let it cool off a little bit. It doesn't take long for it to cool. Once you cool it, though, you don't want to be trying to force it because you will break it. Now, once it's cooled, if you find you need to adjust a little bit more, you can still heat along the edges here. Again, glossy side is where you want to heat. And then you can gently bend it a little bit more if you need to. But again, it was really simple once you heated it up, and it only took a couple minutes. So that's it for that. I know a lot of people have asked if I'm selling the modified file. I typically don't sell files, but if you DM me, I'm certainly happy to make that work for you on this piece. And that's it. So thank you, and I hope everybody enjoys. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me on Messenger or through our Smoky Hills Facebook group. Thanks so much.